of US and China. There's also going to be election in Pakistan this year. They'll be voting for national legislature on the 8th of February. Of course, Pakistan's been facing a turbulent political landscape since the former Prime Minister Imran Khan, who was elected in July 2018, was removed in a no-confidence vote in April 2022. There's also going to be election this year in Indonesia. Indonesians will vote in the world's largest single-day election to choose their president, the vice president, and 20,000 members of parliament, as well as district officials, provincial officers, and local parliamentarians in the country. Besides Indonesia, India, the world's largest democracy, would also be having its election. This time, the BJP leader Narendra Modi was sworn in as India's 14th Prime Minister. A decade later, he appears poised for a third straight term in office, as he'll be going to the polls also later this year. Of course, it's election year in almost 20% of the world, with many people saying this year is a big test for democracy across the globe. Between May and August this year, South Africa will be holding its 7th national election as well, since the end of apartheid in 1994. South Africa has a population of 60 million and about 27 million registered voters. Since 1994, the African National Congress ANC has held uninterrupted power, but supporters fear the party's vote to fall short of the 50% needed to win this year's election. Aside South Africa, also in Mexico, they are gearing up for the largest ever election on the 2nd of June this year that could see the country elect a woman as a president for the first time. Mexico has a population of about 129 million, approximately 96 million registered voters across the country. There's also going to be election, as I said, in the United States, perhaps the biggest one of all. On the 5th of November, the U.S. will vote for its president, all seats in the House of Representatives, and a third of seats in the Senate. The presidential race this year seems to be reminiscent of 2020, where Democrat Joe Biden, who is the current president, faced off against Republican Donald Trump, whom he defeated 4 years ago. That election 4 years ago also brought a new phase into American political landscape. Debate about, credibility of the election, the narrative being spread by Trump to his supporters, and the various legal issues he's faced since then. In fact, today makes it exactly 3 years, 6th of January, when the Congress was invaded by supporters of Trump who wanted to stop the process of certifying the victory of Joe Biden in that election in 2020. Also, aside South Africa, here in Africa, Ghana will be heading to the polls on the 7th of December to elect the members of the country's parliament, as well as successor to the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, of the New Patriotic Party in the country. So it's an eventful year on the political side. They also say it's a test for democracy across the world. What does the year 2024 portend for you? As I said, it's a leap year, and leap years are always known for major events that tend to disrupt the norm. Let's go over to our in-house panelists to begin the conversation now. I have Professor Emi Ayede of the University of Ibadan joining us all the way from Kenya. Prof, good morning. Hello, Prof.
Good morning. It's good with you this morning.
Yes, great to have you, Prof. And then I have Barrister Yomi Ogunlola as well. Barrister, great to have you. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. How are you?
Very well, Barrister. Yes. Okay, let me start off with Prof. Projection into the year. Loads of election everywhere, from Bangladesh, India, Taiwan, Pakistan, Indonesia, South Africa, Mexico, US, and even in Ghana as well. Of course, the US election, many people would say, will be the standout. This is what we experience every 4 years, every leap year as well. Prof, what do you make of all of these big elections happening across the world, from Asia to Africa to the Americas as well?
Yeah, I think some analysts have described this year as a test for democracy. And what we know about elections these days is that most elections are troubled in terms of the keenness of the competition, the tendency to disregard rules. Not just, previously, these are experiences of developing countries, but now they are beginning to rear their heads even in advanced democracies of the West. And that's why many people think that democracy is in retreat, and urgent action needed to be taken to address some of these challenges. And many democracy-promoting outfits like VDEM, for instance, have been bringing out all forms of policy brief to see how some of these challenges of the electoral process are addressed. Because, as you know, elections are the live wires of democracy. Democracy cannot be considered to be real if there are no regular elections. And it's even worse if there are regular elections, but they are illegitimate or non-credible elections. So this year is really a test for democracy, and the extent to which these elections are credible, they are peaceful, and they are fair would determine what will become of democracy in this coming decade. As you know, there are competing civilizations to the Western liberal democratic and capitalist system. From what we see happening in China, China is providing another. There is a direct challenge to liberal democracy and capitalism. They are not just going to observe those elections, they are going to sponsor capacity building programs, they are going to support the election management bodies across the world to see that they perform better. And fortunately for us, we are not in an election year, election season, even though there may be some off-season elections. But democracy is on the march, but it is facing very real and clear threats. And these
events 3 years ago when people invaded, it almost seemed like it was something that was unthinkable, really, given how developed or advanced U.S. democracy had been over the years. But it seemed to have recovered from that. Maybe they have not entirely, because their politics seems very polarized now between Trump supporters and that of Biden as well. So generally, your projection for 2024?
Yes, thank you very much. I think I want to adopt, the submissions of my unlearned prof, because he appears to have summarized everything concerning elections for backing it up, but it is an implied agreement to comply with the rules and regulations of the game. And secondly, that they say begins at home. I want us to look at what is happening in Senegal, because that is what we were opening the new year with. And what I see happening in Senegal is not appealing at all. And I start asking myself, where is ECOWAS? At a time when ECOWAS should be in the forefront, seeing to it that elections are conducted in accordance with the rules of the game, to ensure that there is credibility in our elections and all that, it appears to be mute. Like my friend would say, a mutee under the present circumstances is not good enough. Right. Go and see what is happening in Senegal now, where one man is the accuser, he is the judge, and is running things over there, controls the executive, the legislature, the judiciary, and wants to shut out candidates for the election. So what is ECOWAS doing? Is ECOWAS going to wait again until there is a military coup to restore order before he decides to go in there? Because now they may be relying on their non-interference clause in their agreement. If they cannot interfere now, that the problem is just rising, would it be appropriate for them to now intervene if, perchance, there is a military coup in Senegal?
Barrister, let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. I'll also be joining our guest of the day on the podium. Don't go away.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9. láti ṣe oúnjẹ tó dáa máa ń múnú mi dùn. Ìdí tó fi jẹ́ wípé nígbàkúùgbà tí n bá ń ṣe oúnjẹ, mo máa ń fi kóró náà dára sí i. Fún ẹ̀fọ́ sí, ugu o, tàtàṣé o, ṣọ̀mbọ̀ o, àlùbọ́sà. Kò sí ohun tí mo kì í fi sí tán. Ìdí táwọn ọmọ mi ṣe ń gbádùn oúnjẹ mi nìyẹn.
Mami, mi ò yọ mo fẹ́ sí.
Ṣẹ́rí.
Ṣètò gbogbo oúnjẹ rẹ pẹ̀lú ojúlówó ewébẹ̀. Wá fi kóró náà dára sí i fún adùn tó gbámúṣé yẹn. Lónìí, jẹun tó dáa.
tí wọ́n bá lo ráyéwá nítorí pé o lówó lọ́wọ́ tí wọ́n bá ń tàn ọ́ pọ̀ ráyéwá nítorí dúkìá tó pọ̀ tó ní ọkàn ò tí ì balẹ̀ pọ̀ ráyéwá àlàáfíà lògùn ọrọ̀ ṣáájú ara rẹ o ìlera sílẹ̀ mí gígùn gbogbo àrùn tí ń ṣe ẹ̀dá láyé náà kọ́ láyé fi ń ṣe ni bí dọ̀tí bá pọ̀ lára tí gbogbo ẹ́ńjìnì tásẹ̀dá dá bá ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ tó kọsẹ́ má fòyà tó bá ṣe bí ẹni rárá tára rẹ ò ṣe déédéé pinnu ló kan àyà ara rẹ o Ventolin cleanser ní kò sẹ́mu agbanugbade fọgẹ̀dẹ̀gẹ̀dẹ̀ ara dànù Ventolin jagunlabi panko pè ọ̀rẹ́ ara tọmọdé tàgbà tọkùnrin tóbìnrin ló lè lò ọ̀sọ́kùnrin sóbìnrin dò pépé Ventolin cleanser atẹ́jẹsẹ̀ maradan bíi kóròsìn Ventolin cleanser kìkìdé gbòógì tí ò lọ́tínú la fi ṣe ó ti wà káàkiri ilé ìtajà ògùn jákèjádò ilẹ̀ Nàìjíríà a sì ń wá alágbàtà fún Ventolin cleanser pé nọ́mbà kò demand 08034051533 08034051533 iléeṣẹ́ ẹ̀mí one naturalist care ló ṣe Ventolin cleanser òun láyé tún lò.
ọmọ nàìjà ó yá tètè bá wọn débẹ̀ tọ́ra wọn tó ti débẹ̀ wọ́n gbà pípé síbẹ̀ torí bàgẹ́ ló balẹ̀ ó tún ti ṣẹ̀ quality lọ́mọ jọjọjọ èmi gangan ni quality mo fẹ́ràn láti máa ra quality níbi tí wọ́n ti ń ta quality ọjà ilé ìtajà quality yẹn gangan ọmọ mi ò gbọ́dọ̀ dọ́ọ̀lù ẹ̀ ó yá gbé mi débẹ̀ iShow gadget náà ni kò pé méjì nìbàdàn gbé fún gẹ́gẹ́ bí ilé ìtajà tó ń ta ojúlówó àwọn ẹ̀rọ ìbánisọ̀rọ̀ lóríṣiríṣi bíi iPhone, Tecno, Itel, Infinix, Samsung, Redmi àtàwọn èròjà fóònù lóríṣiríṣi ìyẹn phone accessories laptop tó ń kojú owó kò sírúfẹ́ charger tẹ wá débẹ̀ tí ò sí pẹ̀lú àwọn iPhone tó make sense gidi gan bẹ́ẹ̀ là ń ta fóònù san díẹ̀díẹ̀ easy buy lọ́dọ̀ wa ilé ìtajà iShow gadget wọn kì í ta pàrùpàrù ọjà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni wọn kì í ta kọ̀yìn sájà tó o bá ti débẹ̀ rajà lẹ́ẹ̀kan ṣoṣo wàá ṣèbà quality ìwọ náà má wararo kàn sílé ìtajà iShow gadget lọ́gán kò sẹ̀rí ọ̀rọ̀ iShow gadget wà ní iShow building fanawọlé àbáyọ̀mí street láyé ibùdókọ̀ Lagos ìkòròdú garage ìwó road ìbàdàn 09014579517 iShow gadget quality yẹn lọ fà ó ti lọ wájú.
32 FM 94.9 filling the world with laughter.
When the people became silent,
the government became oppressive. It's time to lend your voice to politics.
On 32 FM 94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. We'll kick-started the show actually with a projection for the year 2024, looking at all of the elections that are happening, and this is a test again for democracy across the world. Barrister Ogunlola, Ina's panelist, was about to finish his line of thought before we went on that break. So, Barrister, I'd like to finish, and then we'll switch gears on the show. Barrister? Hello, Barrister. Oh, okay. I think Barrister cannot hear us.
Yeah, yes, I can.
Okay,
I can hear you.
All right. Yeah, I'll let you finish your line of thought. You were talking about Senegal being one event we should watch out for, and ECOWAS being should be on its toes, especially given what we experienced last year across Africa.
Exactly. You see, because sometimes I wonder what ECOWAS is really up to, because ECOWAS should be in the vanguard of trying to ensure that democracy gains a better route, in the West African sub-region. It should be their concern. It should not be a case where they are only concerned when there is a military coup. Of course, action begets reaction. And I believe that the leadership of ECOWAS can do something about what is happening in Senegal to prevent a reoccurrence of what we had in Mali, what we had in Niger and in Burkina Faso. Right. And don't forget, Senegal is not like the others. Senegal is a little bit different. I think it is one of us, a colonial territory of the British, and if we have a coup coming up there, it will have a reverberating effect, all through the region. So I think ECOWAS should be in the forefront to ensure that elections are conducted in accordance with the rules of the game.
Right. Okay, so we'll move away now and, switch to our focus for the day. I guess it's already on standby. Local government, of course, are created with the ultimate goal of bringing government closer to the people at the grassroots. In Nigeria, local government reforms aimed at both accelerating development and to enable the local population participate and hold those in power accountable for their governance role. That role has actually yet to be achieved. A true third tier of government has never really taken off in governance structure of Nigeria, despite widespread endorsement of local government as a potent system to mobilize people for local participation in governance. Several studies have established the challenges facing Nigerian local government system, such as poor funding, corruption, and also the interference of the executive at the state level. Let's rewind back to the year 2019 when the then Chief of Staff, Chief Bisi Laka, announced in a statement asking the State Council Chairman to hand over to the Head of Local Government Administration, also known as HLA, or the most senior directors in their local government areas or council. These were local government chairmen who came into power. They were elected actually at the time before the end of the late Ajimobi administration. And since their pronouncement, there's been loads of fireworks, legal fireworks from both sides, and accusation and counter-accusation. And most recently, the Oyo State Governor, in his media chat a few weeks ago, he talked about the local government chairman, the ex-local government chairman now distracting him and also just going around shopping for court judgment. And he says, he will not be distracted in any way and will focus on the governance of the state. To understand this issue from the perspective of the chairman, I have joining us this morning Prince Ayodeji Abbas, a election lawyer, joining us on the podium today. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. Good morning to the people in the studio there.
Good morning to you. I mean, let me start from the most recent reaction from the state governor. As I said, there's been a lot, on the legal point of view, on the political side, and also in terms of the accusation, counterclaims, and claims from both sides of the divide involved in this. Now, the governor accused your group of foreign shopping for all kinds of court processes. He said he has kept his focus, adding that the government will now go after you and the other embattled ex-chairpersons lawfully with a view to ensuring that you account for your deeds. I mean, what are your thoughts on the governor's stance on this issue? Especially, it looks like he knows something that we don't, because he's saying that he's ready to go after you legally because he's decided to keep his focus, and you keep going around shopping for all kinds of court pronouncement. Prince?
Well, ordinarily, I would have said that that question is not too necessary because as a journalist, I must have been following the recent happenings, even since 2019, that were illegally sacked. At the time, it was so intense. The battle was fierce. There was fighting. The then NURTW chairman, then auxiliary, was after everybody that can't enter your office. But we chose the option of going to court. I told all our members not to fight with anybody in the offices, but rather we approached court. We won at the court. They went to appeal court till we got to the Supreme Court. Not only did we win at the Supreme Court, the justices at the Supreme Court had very harsh words, which everybody in the all media in Nigeria today, a lot of people have done analysis on that judgment. Harsh words describing the governor of Oyo State as then on executive rascality. That was just the choice of words then. They were now asked to pay all our money, including the entitlement, which ordinarily should be 7.4 billion total. The judgment was served the same day that of Katsina was served. Katsina had since paid. They were given 3 months to pay all this with Ashworth and with them writing a letter of commitment to the court that they will pay after being fined 20 million. They paid that fine. They went to court. A letter of commitment was written to court. But what did we have? They did not pay. Instead of paying, they started arguing whether it's 4.7 million that you don't have all your gratuity, all the allowances that should be paid with it is not there. And they say in the interest of the state, we should forgo that. Why don't you people just collect your salary and give way? They wrote, their Attorney General wrote a letter to us agreeing that owing us 4 point.
So you decided, Prince, I just want to get something. You decided to forgo a part of the money. It was supposed to be 7.5 billion, and you decided to forgo. It was your decision. It was your decision to forgo it.
Like various allowance or yes.
Okay.
We decided to forgo it. When they came pleading, appealing, and we'll collect the salary. And they said they didn't want to appeal before. On the Attorney General, they were asked in another court to produce how much are they owing us. And the Attorney General himself wrote a letter to us that they will pay 4.5 billion within 6 months. Again, they reneged. It did not. They only pay 1.5 billion, not even at once, spreading. So the money that they were supposed to have paid in 3 months, according to the Supreme Court judgment, is yet to be paid 3 years after. So do we go out fighting, seizing government vehicles, or fighting them illegally? Let me tell you, in a very civilized community,
right,
in a civil society, what is expected of us? Please, I'm just asking you. The only thing expected of us is to approach court again.
Yes,
Prince,
I brought that question. I know about all the court judgment because as I said in my introduction, there's been various legal battles since that pronouncement. But I decided to bring it to you to get a reaction to what the governor said, because the governor addressed the people of the state and he took a position. In fact, he accused the judiciary. Prince, hold on. He accused the judiciary. He says because of the issues in our judiciary, that's why you've been getting all this kind of court judgment. He said you're you're frolicking. He said you're on a frolic of legal rascality. That's what he said. So I just wanted to get your take, because that's his recent media attack where he spoke to the people of the state addressing this issue. And people need to also understand your own point of view as well. That's why you're here. Yes.
Let me say this clearly. We had our own press conference to address this, in which my speech was read to gentlemen of the press. I'm sure your radio was also represented. Having said that, maybe he's trying to borrow the language of the Supreme Court that accuse him of embarking on executive rascality. Maybe he's trying to throw back the tantrums to them. Maybe. And don't forget, within these 3 years, we have lost 27 members. I mean, the chairman and councillors who are dead now. 27 members we have lost, including 2 of my ESCO members in the Argon. We have lost them because somebody somewhere decided to do what he likes. Look, what does he really want? when you go to court to seek redress, even look at the case of Ogbomosho, the princes there, in fact, the way he harassed them, he threatened to deal with them for going to court. The same way he threatened to deal with us for approaching court. What does he really want? I mean, they said the judiciary is the last hope of common man. We have gone there now to lay our case. And this court has said that, okay, the Supreme Court has given you judgment. Why did you pay? The High Court that went to enforce that judgment. They said, no. The account that was garnished, okay, we'll look into it. And they said, they pleaded with us in that court. Okay, please, do this. You have garnished 1.3 billion. It's in that account. Nobody is in safety. Nobody is touching that money. Let them be paying 500 million for the next 6 months to defray the whole money. The High Court pleaded to us to accept that judgment reluctantly because it was against the judgment of the Supreme Court. Reluctantly, we will have accepted. They went to appeal court to appeal that judgment. And when they go to appeal court said, what do you mean? Do you want us to go against the Supreme Court judgment? Even the High Court that said that you should have another arrangement, he did not do it very well. They shouldn't. The High Court should not have done that.
So, Prince.
But if the High Court had, in his own wisdom, appealed to these people, and you are still appealing, and they said, with immediate effect now, go and pay all the money.
Prince. Okay, so
that was why they were touched.
Prince, one of the things the governor also said that he said he will go after you using all lawful means. Are you in any way perturbed with that statement? He said you use all lawful means to go after you.
Perturbed is almost 5 years now. It's when we now ask, anytime you now ask for, you come with cheap blackmail. Perturbed in any way? We are not. We are not. He has not done that. We don't have skeleton in a cupboard. We did all we did with fear of God. He should go to our records. They have even scrutinized. They did everything. They started. I don't have anything. But is it not? I will have it off. We have never had. It is when we now decided that this money, when the money in his account, the state government account has been garnished, when they know that they are nowhere to run to now, that is issuing that threat after 5 years.
Okay.
We are not talking of that.
Prince.
Each time you see us winning, each time you see us pressing for our legitimate money, is when you now say you have something, you deal with them, you do that. I think a governor was elected to serve his own people, not to be threatening them to deal with them.
Okay, so let me go to in-house panelists now. We have Barrister Ogunola with us and Professor Remi Ayede. Let me start with Barrister. Barrister?
Yes, Thank you very much. Prince Abbas, election lawyer, let me seize the opportunity to welcome you to Podium.
Thank you, my friend.
Now, there is no rule without exception. Secondly, no one gives who possesses not. Thirdly, the law must be taken to intend what is reasonable. And fourthly, the law does not compel the doing of impossibilities. I have monitored the back and forth of this matter. You have the Supreme Court judgment on your side. But you are an indigene of the state, and I believe you mean well for this state. My first question, does the Oyo State government have capacity to pay you this sum up front? That's number one. Then number two, you have approached the Federal High Court in Abuja, and you got your order of April 27, 2021, that all the outstanding salaries and allowances be paid. Then In June of 2023, the Court of Appeal, in its wisdom, said you should approach the ADR center of that court. Have you people done that? Because I believe that what is on ground now is a matter that can be settled by your mutual understanding. Perhaps if you go to ADR, if you have not gone, don't you think there could be a better result, a way of making arrangements so that within the limited resources of the government, they can make way for whatever this judgment debt is all about? Have you approached the ADR as advised by the Court of Appeal?
Let me start from the first one that you said. The Oyo State government has the money, has the capacity. We know what we left. We did not collect our salary. We know what we left there. But because they want to control local government money, and this is self-inflicted crisis by Oyo State government, because it's like we Makinde, and he said, okay, you are hereby sacked. Of course, we'll be on the side of Makinde if he goes to court. And that is having respect for rule of law. It's not that somebody will just come. What is the difference between what he has done and what the military people used to do in the past? Please, I believe we should be able to talk and come out to challenge this element before they go. Obasanjo came, he sacked so many governors. He sacked Fayose, Elemisia, Dariye, and so on and so forth. You may have everything against Buhari. Buhari has not for once done anything of such. So that means things are changing and people should be able to come out. No governor has come. He even said erroneously that Akala did. No, it was pronouncement of court that said that election that was held on Thursday could not stand. It was a pronouncement of court. Even Ajimabi, when he came, he allowed those caretakers to finish their term. He represented their names to House. The House rejected it. Nobody has come out and said, you are hereby sacked. That is the first one. The second thing is that you call it ADB. I think it's an arbitration panel or something like that.
Alternative dispute resolution, ADR. Yes. Alternative dispute resolution, yes.
Yes, we could not have gone. We could not have gone with a case. That's the only case. That's not the only case with Supreme Court. Katsina paid. This one, they have even been dribbling. Before even that, they ask you to go. And when we ask, millions of naira is the money we are going to pay. And we will not waste your time, and you'll be there for almost 3 years again. When we have already had judgment at the Supreme Court, what are we going there to do? Our lawyer, we sat down with all our legal teams, and we told them, we are not interested in this. We want to follow up. We have been very sensitive enough. We have been thinking about the state enough. For us, even those who are living now, they are already paying their severance allowance to them. It's our salary. This is what we are just asking for. And it is not because of anything. It is being politicized. At a time when people went to him, a lot of people were sent to him. And he said, election was coming. He will not pay to his people in the opposing camp to use the money. I know of one of my ESCO members who was critically ill, Oladeji from Oyo. He was a physician. The man could not raise money after we raised money from him. And you know the funniest thing is that this money, nobody, it was first once we are contributing. We got from even spent for ourselves. We are contributing it to collect our salary. We have contributed, we don't have money again, and people are dying. That's why it's not that time wasting venture. He wants to, I am waiting for them. I want them to go back to that Supreme Court and now know the implication of what they have done. We have appealed to them. We have done everything. We are not fighting you. We are not doing this. We have chosen the path of honor. and of civil to be very civil. And I don't know what they want from us again. So with due respect to our barrister, I think it was just a decoy. We met with all our lawyers before taking that decision. We all concluded that even the money that was requested that should be paid, we don't have such money again. Of course, it could have been very better before we got a Supreme Court judgment. Since we have Supreme Court judgment, there's nothing we can do.
Yeah. So maybe at the time you decided to forgo a part of the money, because you mentioned it in that press conference as well, 7.5 billion, you accepted 4.8 billion. That, showed to some people that there could be like a solution to this instead of this back and forth, because we've been on this road for the last 5 years. So if you could agree to forgo, a part of the money, that means that there is actually a solution to this instead of dragging this issue for so long.
Thank you very much. That's about almost 2.5 years back now. We agreed. In actual fact, they were the one pressing. It's not this much, it's this much. It's 4.something billion. And they wrote it. They wrote that letter thinking that we will not accept. That, okay, it's in black and white, written by the Attorney General. When we brought that into court, in fact, the way they were lambasted, that you signed this thing. The government of Oyo State signed this thing, thinking that we will not even accept. And in the interest of peace, in actual fact, some people, I know some lawyers who said, no, you should collect all your money. I would say, okay, let people see us shifting. And we agreed. And they wrote it in black and white that this proposal, the government of Oyo State has the capacity to pay everything. We were in court yesterday.
Right.
But
Barrister, I want you to hold that thought. We need to go on this commercial break. When we get back, we'll continue the conversation. We need to take this break. The podium will be back in a moment. Don't go away.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
Meals have a way of taking us on a journey, and when you add plenty of vegetables like efo, ugu, and season with the rich taste of North seasoning cubes, even better.
So, go ahead and elevate your meals with more vegetables and the rich taste of Knorr cubes. Today, eat for good.
Golden Chance Lotto. Shey you dey gbadun games? Shey you dey play Lotto? Shey you go like to play Lotto without stressing? You no go kiosks. You fit no even play online. Make you no worry for data. Golden Chance Lotto dey here for you. Make you dial *7005# with your MTN line for any phone to play and win big. You fit even check games results and you go collect wetin you win with the USSD. Play any of Golden Chance Lotto indoor and Ghana games. No forget, our indoor games dey easy to win. Golden Chance Lotto don give you a better way to become a millionaire. No forget, *7005#.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
In order to matter, matters of the state must matter to you.
If some people are crying that they are in darkness, they should go and hold those who vandalize the installation.
Let me say that the political crinkle.
Stay tuned to politics on 32 FM 94.9.
Safasa pelisizo simnyama Iwasafa Isizo Saba
All right, welcome back. The Podium on 32 FM 94.9. Our guest is still Prince Ayodeji Abbas, election lawyer, the ex-Argon chairman. We're discussing the local government crisis in Oyo State in relation to the various court judgment regarding the payment of various packages to the sacked LG chairman. Barrister, you were about to ask a question before we went on that break. I'd like you to ask your question, then we'll switch to Prof for his own comment as well. Barrister.
Yes. Thank you very much. Prince, I am looking at the possibility of resolving this crisis, in the most amicable manner. Now, I want to take you back to May 7, 2021, where the Supreme Court ordered that payment. I think the government lawyer was asking for a more favorable terms of payment. I don't know if they were given the opportunity to express what they meant by favorable terms of payment, so that it does not come to be a verbal disagreement. I mean, it appears from everything that we have seen that the government accepts its indebtedness to all of you. So I don't know. I am looking at this more favorable terms of payment. Whether you have explored it, what does it mean? What do they mean?
Thank you. That is what I just said. At that time, the government said they could only pay, and they will be paying 500 for the next 6 months. They will finish everything. They will pay everything. That was the agreement is in black and white, written by the Attorney General. It took us a lot of meetings. We sent our representative, they have their representative before we agreed. They now wrote that. In actual fact, we had wanted to go back to Supreme Court to find that people are not ready to pay the 7.1. But after consideration, we said, let's accept. When we go to court, we said, let's accept. The court said they could not adjudicate how much is the money. You have to ask, you have to tell us, is it what you are saying or what they are saying? That's okay. We agree to what they are saying. If that is the way they believe it's going to be very comfortable for them to pay, we had 2.5 years back now to let you know that this thing is intentional. And about having money or not having money in court, we were in court yesterday. All the banks, 5 banks came to court yesterday. They asked whether the first bank has more than the money we are going to be paid. The account was guaranteed. All the banks made amounts their account. Most people said what they have is more than to pay. And they have 1.3 billion since April that has been garnished that nobody, the government cannot touch, and we have not even had access to it. So it's not as if that money has not been set aside, it's not there. But I mean, I think maybe the government or the governor is just showing arrogance towards this judgment. I don't know.
Okay, let me go to Prof now. Prof, I'd like to start with your thoughts on what the governor said when it was during that media chat just a few weeks ago. He says, I was not wrongly advised, and if I have to take the decision all over again, I will do exactly the same thing. Before we came in, the previous administration had elections in the constitutionally recognized 33 local government areas as well as LCDAs. So that was the basis for our decision. I could have worked with anybody, but because they did something that was not in line with the Constitution, we decided they had to go. So this is a statement of the governor, despite, court decisions that have declared the, sacking of the LG chairman unconstitutional. And he says if he had to do it all over again, he would do the same thing. Prof.
Yeah, I've made a comment on this issue before, and I've made it very clear that you can't resort to self-help. You can't be the judge if you are a member of the executive. I said I agree with Barrister that the elections are questionable, the credibility of the elections are questionable. But of course, to decide the status of that election regarding all of this, it's not for me and you. We can only hold opinion. The governor can also only hold opinion. But if you have real grievances about that, you go to the courts. And once the courts decide, then you can take action on the basis of a court decision. But because you have executive power, you have executive might, you can cause a lot of things to happen, does not mean that you should take that part. And it's really, really very unfortunate that the governor is insisting that what he has done is the right thing. I mean, imagine if the local government chairman and councillors were strong enough, like in the days of Adedibu, to cause trouble in Oyo State. Will we support them if they start causing trouble in the local government secretariat across the state? No, this thing, taking the law into your hand is never an option, because it's a cause for anarchy. And the only reason why the governor is saying this thing is because he has the capacity to do what he's doing. And then that we can see the consequences for the pulse of the Oyo State, which I also agree with Barrister, that, the amount is huge. We should not allow Oyo State people to bear the burden of this faux pas. And that's why he has emphasized again and again that why not take the alternative dispute resolution mechanism? Settle out of court, negotiate the amount at issue. Now I'm going around again, grandstanding, it's postponing the evil day, and then showing that the path that you have chosen, you are insisting on it, even when it is very clear from the pronouncement of the court that how do you start talking about people going shopping for court judgment? That itself is an insult on the judicial process.
Maybe because he's lost faith in the judiciary. I mean, the judiciary has been under scrutiny in the last couple of years.
Is he telling us now that he will not go to court? I mean, in the case of the Agodi Gardens Forest intervention, is he also going to say that the courts have no locus and no credibility to intervene? If all of us say that we have lost credibility in the courts, and then what else do we have? And not to talk of somebody who is a custodian of the Constitution. He can't claim that, he can't say that. If you think you don't believe in the Constitution, don't believe in the court system as a governor, then resign and say, look, there's no rule of law here. But even if because of the weakness of the institution is in his favor as an executive governor, he has the resources, he has the manpower, he has access. I mean, when you have two people contending over an issue, if you look very closely, the power relations is unequal. And it's not for him to be behaving as if he's the victim. He's not going to, in any case, we are concerned about the taxpayers' money, not about him. How much of his money is invested in all of these problems? So it's the funds of the state, and I think that he can afford to be more responsible than he currently is. I don't think that the path that he has chosen, when you have power and you are in a position, you can quickly say, I have done this thing, I have no regret, I have no apology, I will still do it the same way. It's easy to say when you are in that position of power. And that's why they say that, you don't know the character of a person until you give him power and resources. So I think the governor should come out of his high position, and really think about the ordinary people, think about the image of the state itself, and then, of course, the image of the institutions of government in Nigeria. You don't just say, especially when you're in that position, things about the judiciary carelessly. Remember also that the Chief Justice of the Federation is from Oyo State. So I think he should be more circumspect in his speech, and as we have suggested, they should take the path of negotiation, an alternative dispute resolution, and resolve this thing once and for all, and see how they can get some meaningful settlement, even because what is the issue that this is a huge sum. I mean, you negotiate through the process and then get the state out of this. This thing is dragging on for so long. Does he want it to outlive his administration? I mean, remember when Obasanjo seized the Lagos State and local government funds? It outlived him, and Yar'Adua paid. So I think he should just, for the case of the sake of posterity and for his own good name as a leader now, a very, very important leader in Oyo State, to let this case get settled before the expiry of his government. Because sitting in that position, it's not also forever. So I really think that I also appeal to the Prince Abbas and his colleague, to try and work towards a settlement, so that we don't continue to make this thing a media issue. We want it to be over. I mean, since the first time, this thing is dragging for too long, and we have very important issues in Oyo State to address, and let us focus on them. And even all these local government chairman, former local government chairman, they also and their councillors and all of them, they still have contributions to make to the state. I believe that some of them would have even moved on politically into other things and other activities. So let's settle this matter and let there be give and take. Let's take on to a political solution and get it off the table. Let nobody be holding media conferences or press briefings where they are grandstanding. It will not help the issue. They've spent so much money and so much resources in the courts already. Let them save themselves the trouble and save Oyo State this protracted tension.
Okay. Let me go to Prince now. Let's look at things from the political side now. I mean, you talked about following the Asiwaju entourage of the governor, and those of us watching on the sideline, we know about the G5, the politicking of the election era, the relationship between the president now and the current governor of the state. The first question is, we saw the president intervene in Rivers, we saw him intervene in Ondo State. Whether or not those interventions worked, it's another debate. So are you willing to explore that option, given the relationship between the governor and the president? Or is that relationship also, as it sort of put you to a disadvantage in the state, talking about the opposition generally, the APC in your state and other issues there as well? So it's a two-part question, really. Are you looking to explore the option of the president, since you already told the president that you were the ones, disturbing him at the time you met with him when you followed the entourage of the president there, and also the politicking area in the state, as it sort of, sidelined you based on his position, relationship with the president?
It's not impossible for the presidency to wade the president himself to wade in. It's not impossible. Of course, we'll be happy. But let me say this, and I really want to thank Prof for his comments. Let me say this, that this is not the first time that we will seek political solution. We sought political solution back then in 2021. And even when it was very clear that he's being very friendly with the Asiwaju Tinubu and everything. In fact, you did not hear anything from our side in the last 1.5 years. Nothing. Especially myself, coming into the media or saying anything again, because we believe we had gentleman agreement 2 years back. We had meeting. That meeting, we had more than 5 meetings before the then Attorney General on behalf of Oyo State government now wrote in white and black that, okay, we are ready to pay this sum in 6 months. We do this. What other political solution is more than that? Sitting down with some of our people, you say, hey, in the interest of the state, let's do this. Let's come out and be saying this. When he was saying that I have a good news for them, I am not going to pay a dime. Because of that, to declare that the LCDA should be included, that they have election in LCDA too, LCDA and local government should be paid. Is in that judgment. And he has even forgotten that the part he paid, the little he paid then, he paid LCDA. And he says it's because of that unconstitutional means that he did not want to pay again. He has paid them. He has paid when we started. But he's like just wanting to show that I am the government. Nobody is in our area. But it's for you to have the sensitive enough to our plight. You are not even thinking of the 27 people's lives have been lost. Only for you to say, yes, I'm going to deal with them. These are some of the things. So if you go to, if presidency should wade in, who knows? If he's not going to renege again. So these are the issues. But from our part, we have done that. We have agreed. It's only where what is said that he discussed with us. When he could not do it again, that we resorted to going to court again. So we can't resort to self-help. We will not do that.
Yes.
Like Prof said, during the Adedibu era, the thugs will have been everywhere fighting. We are not thugs. We are well trained. And I remember then, before contesting, then I didn't be saying you must have minimum of a degree for you to be qualified to. So majority of our people, we have a PhD holder among us. We have lawyers among us. I'm telling you, we will not go through that line. This is the only line that is expected of a gentleman, and that's the line that we are.
Yes, I mentioned the president. I mentioned the president because I remember sometime in 2020 when the former president Muhammadu Buhari's administration, there was also some sort of intervention as well from the part of the central government. I remember the then Attorney General Baka Melami SCN wrote a letter talking about the legality of your sacking by the governor, and then there was the order from the IGP at the time for the Commissioner of Police to allow you access into your office. That was back in 2020, and some people would say that kind of intervention, that kind of intervention sort of compounded the problem. Yes,
2020. You know why I didn't mention that?
Yes,
is that the IG and the Attorney General then Malami had written based on the Supreme Court judgment on Ekiti that all states that said that this thing should reinstate them with immediate effect. And we went on that then, that one caused crisis. They used this NURTW to stop us from gaining access to offices. Why I didn't go back to that is that Supreme Court judgment for us has superseded that one. That was why I did not go. Even going back to that, the needless crisis that we went through then. So I didn't go to that because of this judgment that came in 2021.
Let me go to Barrister now. Barrister, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, Prince,
yes, sir.
There is a question I would like to ask you, and I want you to answer it honestly and in good faith. He did not conduct the local government election. And when he finally decided to conduct the government election, it was with the knowledge that it was going to extend into another administration, which is why we find ourselves where we are. Now, my question is this. In your honest, in good faith opinion, do you think that was right? So that we do not have a problem like this again in future. Local governments are supposed to be the administrative units of a state. Do you think it was right for Ajimobi to have stayed in office for 7 years when local government administration would have existed for 2 years, because yours is 3 years at a go, if he had done the needful? Do you think that kind of an arrangement is good for the future?
Yes, thank you. I think what Ajimobi was avoiding then is what is happening now. There are a lot of litigation, courts. There are a lot of court judgments that says that the people, the chairman during Akala then went to court. Those of Lado, it has been in court. Even this election that we had, they still said, some people still said the court stopped us. Not knowing that we have gotten injunction restraining them. They did not. Until when that injunction was lifted, we went to court. There was a date that was fixed before that May election. That day, it was almost a few months that election, the court came again. We could not have it. It has to be postponed. It was litigation arising from the one this governor is mentioning. It was litigation that was carried throughout Ajimobi regime. You can check it. The records are there. It's there.
Okay,
even after our election, some people even commented that they are doing election when the court said stop them. Not knowing that injunction was lifted 3 days before that election again. That's all.
Okay, Prince. Prince, I want to be more direct in your response to this one.
Yes.
For the future, would it be advisable to conduct an election to extend into another administration in future? All things being equal.
No. It can't be. It can't be my opinion. You see, if I have my opinion, I would say no. But it's like asking me if after the sack of a governor from a state, for example, next year, Ondo State will have their election. They are not having it general with other. So it's as what the court says. If is by means of judiciary that you have a judgment that will not allow you to have that election, of course, there's nothing anybody can do. Because if you want, if you are talking of democracy, we should allow rule of law to thrive. That's the only thing.
Right. I see Prof.
Have a choice.
I see Prof.
Is,
yes, Prof is raising his hand. Prof. Yes.
I want to make a comment, and I think this should be very clear. The very fact that the tenure of local government chairman is 3 years suggests that there will be overlap across administration. Then, and that is not peculiar to Nigeria. It's not anything new anywhere in the world at all. Secondly, Barrister, you assume that Ajimobi was expecting APC to lose that election. On the contrary, he was thinking that there will be continuity with APC. In fact, he thought that that election, that local government election, would help APC in the forthcoming election. So he actually was not envisaging a situation where a PDP government will come in and then you have to contend with a local government people that were that came out of an election conducted by APC. So we should not look at it as if it's a problem conducting election a few months or a year to a state government election.
We have seen situations where PDP fight among themselves, fight among themselves.
That's right.
For the party, I think they just got their disputes resolved by the court, the announcement of their chairman. So, because even if it had been an APC government, we could still have had this kind of a result.
That's because people disregard for rules. It's not because there's an inherent problem in having an election towards the end of a local government in a state. The state is one. It's not the state is not the administration of 4 years of any governor.
But Prof, you see, like I said earlier, a lot of our governors or emperors, I love to call them emperors, regard local governments as their administrative units. All right? And you can see what is happening all over the country. Governors are using local government money, just putting in some less kakistocrats, in local governments so that they can continue to spend their money. So the problem, that's why I am saying that it appears we have not yet accepted the tripartite structure, that the Constitution appears to impose on us, that there are 3 tiers of government, the federal, the state, and local government. People are still working on the old definition of a federal system, that is an arrangement between the federal and the states. And until that is resolved, we will continue to be in this crisis. But that's just the position that I am canvassing. Wouldn't it be better if you are in government? A governor must conduct local government elections within the first 365 days that he is in office, so that we can have peace.
I don't think that's peace, because we have had state governors who abuse many things.
Yes.
Look at the Lagos, the state local government joint account. That itself is an issue that is going to be addressed, because when they talk about the autonomy of local government, that itself is an issue for contention. So we cannot accommodate misbehavior by changing law, to rectify bad behavior. We should rather find ways and means of having people obey the law and do the right thing. You see, democracy is not just about law, it's also about the values that come with it. Values of moderation, values of respect for rule of law, value of looking beyond yourself and looking at the larger interests of the state. If all of these things were taken into consideration, we won't have all of this contention. And sometimes you have to fight it out like this,
right?
So that other governors will learn.
Let me go to Prince now.
What to
Yes.
do, Prince? Let me crave your indulgence. What we need to do, if we were running it as we should, local government money goes to local government accounts. State money goes to state account. And the governor cannot go and dip his filthy fingers into local government accounts. Maybe the problem will be solved. Or what do you think, Prince?
Yeah, yes, that is what I want to address. And in 2014, when I was leaving office as a caretaker chairman, then I wrote a book, Grassroots Governance in Perspective, my experience in Odiole local government, is to espouse a lot of things about local government, being the closest form of government to the people. This morning, as I'm talking to you, people are in my room that, even though I'm not the local government chairman, as a community leader. And when we had flood in August 26, 2011, then, I remember very well, the first point of call with the people then was we at the local government level. Me and my councillors woke up early in the night then, doing palliative, getting tired to rescue people before federal government, state government, federal government, and even international community could come. That is that. Not everybody will have problem in every community and go to Agodi, have opportunity of entering Agodi or go to Abuja. Having said that, even if you look at the way the allocation is being shared between the federal, state, and local government, while the federal is taking almost 50%, the state is taking almost 30%, and the less than 20% goes to the local government. It should be reversed. It should be reversed. Because if people contest, I would never, nothing will make me contest or go to serve at any local government again, of course. But if, for people who are coming behind us, if people are allowed to come in on the basis of election, and that election should go to INEC, not the State Electoral Commission again. Let me tell you a secret today, during Ajimobi time, that people did not know. I am telling you, and I'm not saying this because we belong to the same party. If there have been very strong opposition that contested that election, that local government election with us, we would not have won in so many
do you think the opposition did not contest? Prince, I remember because they did not contest. Do you think they did not contest because they did not trust the process? Maybe that was why they didn't contest, Prince.
Whatever. Whatever may be the case, I am saying I am not going. It's another topic entirely why they did not. Yeah. PDP then was not even in it was in crisis then. In fact, Governor Seyi Makinde has not even joined PDP then. If you remember very well, they opted out. If they had gone to that election, Ajimobi left everything in total. He put every box. We have policemen, we have everything. Nobody will stuff any ballot box. It was because if there had been any candidate, I am telling you, will have won. Because the man did not intervene. That much I know. But having said that, there can never be any trust on any OSEC or any state electoral commission. The INEC should do it. But in doing it, if you say they do it in every year, you do it, but if you have litigation like you have for governorship election, it may not be the same date, right? Like Barrister said. So then the issue there is about this Jack. When we were there, we were fighting for local government autonomy. That the local government in Ibadan land, because when you are talking of autonomy, you should talk of total. It's going to be total autonomy. That I will have the right to say these are the people that will work for me. But the constitution does not permit that. The constitution recognizes the fact that you can come from Otu and work in Ibadan. For example, some directors in state secretariat who bring their wives to Ibadan to work. So when I want to pay salary in Ibadan, salary of primary school teachers, all those directors from other areas bring their wife to Ibadan to work. So I will pay for salary of 2,000 teachers. From the allocation that goes to Itesiwaju in Otu, they may pay for just 100 teachers. And when they deduct on salary of 100 teachers, they have more money to play with. By the time I pay all salary of 2,000 teachers, I have zero allocation. That was what led to zero allocation then. And that was called for the joint account, JAC. That JAC should not be more than just deducting the salary centrally, salary of primary school teachers. Since there is no law that says somebody from Otu cannot work in Oluyole, so if there is no law that says that, then we have to pay the salary jointly for everybody before we start distributing our money with the ratios that they use. If you don't do that, you believe that when you get all your salary, you take it to Tesiwaju and you just pay 100 teachers. I will take all my salary, all my allocation, I will pay 2,000 teachers. Then that means I will determine who works in my local government. But the Constitution of Nigeria does not allow for that. So in that wise, when we were agitating, we were doing all these things, we thought that there was no autonomy. But I don't know what I can call this time now. Then we have our allocation, we collect our allocation. After you can do project, you can do this. But now, they're not even collecting allocation. No JAC meeting. They will just give them running cost. It's the state government that will determine what and what they will do. But by the state government is now bringing everything to be shared by the state government itself. I don't know who will question them.
Okay.
But for us, in my local government, if I do not perform, I have 3 years. The people will be there.
Yes.
If you do not perform your local government, the people will be there.
Right.
To give you hear your result at the end of the segment.
Let's take this break. When we get back, we'll be wrapping up the conversation with Prince Abbas, election lawyer, on the podium. You can also drop your comment on Facebook as well, 32FM 949 Ibadan. We'll also be opening the phone lines after this break. Don't go away.
Stay tuned to 32FM 94.9.
Oúnjẹ ní bó ṣe máa ń mú wa rìnrìn àjò. Tó o bá wá fi ọ̀pọ̀ ewébẹ̀ bíi ẹ̀fọ́ àti úgú sí i, kó o tún wá wọ́n kóró náà pẹ̀lú adùn ẹ̀ sí i. Èyí ga jù.
Fún ìdí èyí, jẹ́ kí ọ̀pọ̀ oúnjẹ rẹ sún pẹ̀lú ọ̀pọ̀ ewébẹ̀ àti adùn kóró náà lónìí. Jẹun tó dáa.
Ṣẹ̀mí ń bí olóògùn ọ̀rẹ́.
Ìjà ò dọ́là lètò tó yanjú aáwọ̀.
Láàrin mùtúmùwà.
Tóbi lọ́ba Ògúnṣínà wọ̀kìlúmọ̀ látọ́kùn ètò.
Láago 11 àárọ̀ lọ́jọ́ Ẹtì àti Àbámẹ́ta.
Feel better about your life.
32FM 94.9, the antidote to depression. Just because you do not take an interest in politics doesn't mean politics won't take an interest in you.
The funds spent were properly spent because we got them from intervention funds.
Only you waka come. There is God.
I don't know which party my wife belongs to, but she belongs to my kitchen and my living room and the other room.
Stay in tune with politics on 32FM 94.9.
Welcome back. The Podium on 32FM 94.9. You can be a part of the conversation now by calling 0705 500949 or 0809 700949. You can also drop your comment on Facebook at 32FM 949 Ibadan. We're also live on YouTube with the same handle at 32FM 949 Ibadan. On Facebook, Okedron Abatune says legal advisors to the government should advise the government and put this matter behind them. All this is because we don't allow the system to work. If the government allowed local government to work, elected chairman to serve their term, all this matter would not have come up. Let the local government be functional while the state provide supervisory role. This one is from Kola. Okay, let's take this call. Hello. 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 Okay, 0705 5949 0809 7949. Hello. Hello. Hello, morning. Yes. Okay, welcome.
I prefer NF to conducting the local government election so that every party, you are very strong in your own political area. For instance, I've been according APC, PDP. You have grassroots in democracy in the local government election. So you are very popular. You are able to even win your local government. By that, the government will not be able to have full control over everybody as far as the local government and are concerned. I prefer the INEC and NBA, the lawyers, they should be the forefront of fighting for this. They should help us to fight for this so that INEC will be conducted the local government so that there should be starting of all these state electoral commissions. And God help us in this country.
All right, thank you so much. Kolaole Kazim says, I think local government problem is caused by the mode of election conducted here. If we must fix it, we have to allow INEC to conduct election into it. In that way, governors should not have the powers to dictate who gets to occupy the office. Therefore, officials will be responsible to the electorate. Thank you. Let's take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, please move away from your radio, sir.
How are you today? I am enjoying your talk.
Yes, sir. Your name, sir?
You see, my name is Ayo from Ijukodo, Ibadan here.
All right, go ahead, sir.
I remember in 1986 when I was in the university, Utuwiri. Myself and two of my colleagues, we set up a group, and we are advocating for stateless state for Nigeria. And we advocated for this for almost the time I was in Futu. And I began to see now the relevance of that if it was adopted in Nigeria as early as that 80. Stateless state, less federal and local government. The issue of this thing we are saying will have not been there. Having said that, the constitution that has established three-tier system should be empowered to give local government their autonomy direct, not partial. The state government will know that the local government are there to function. Their functions or their job schedules are outlined in the constitution or wherever. So I want to really say that a lot of things still needed to be done if we want our local government to be functional. Otherwise, we are just walking around this house in Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 0705 5949 0809 7949. Drop your comment on Facebook at 32FM 949 Ibadan. Okedun Rabatide says, why is it difficult to obey court judgment? The government should be the torch bearer and show the way for the people to follow. If these people were members of the same political party, possibly the governor might have done the needful. Governance should be fair to all. Some local governments are generating massive IDR. Where and how are they beneficial? Are they beneficial to the people? Everything is under the purview of the state. Fairness is needed to all. Okay, thank you very much. Let me go back to Prince now. Hello, Prince. I don't know if you can hear me. Prince.
I'm here with you.
Yes,
I'm here with
yes. Okay, so a lot has been said, right? The governor appears to be defiant to all of this. And you've talked about him being arrogant. Prof has also said that he's spoken about the judiciary in that manner that he should not have. But I mean, where do you go from there, your group? Because the governor, it seems like he's not bending. From his last media chat, he says, he would remain this way. He would, if he had a chance to do it all over again, he would do the same thing, and he would also go after you by every legal means. So if you have two parties that are conflict and nobody is willing to shift ground, it looks like there's no end in sight. So what are you willing to do to ensure that you get what you want in such a way that the interests of the state also remains paramount as well? So where do you go from here?
Yeah, rule of law, judiciary. We don't have anything to do. Nobody, even if it were to be president, is above the system, Nigerian system, or the judiciary or rule of law. So the only thing is for us is, you see, for me, honestly, I'm saying this. When we got that judgment at the Supreme Court, I was talking less. When it became the issue of, in fact, some of my colleagues will set up committee to go and be meeting them. Because why we follow the case to that Supreme Court, why it was so intense, is to help to entrench democracy, rule of law. To say it as it were, because that case will always be a reference point in the issue of jurisprudence in Nigeria. So I think we did that on our own to make a point. So for us, we will still continue in this way. It's still the rule of law. But what do? Do we go and fight? Or should we fold our arms and say, okay, we have given them, don't want again? No, it's just the rule of law. It's what the court says. And we have very willing lawyers. So many lawyers have even joined our team who are sympathetic, who have seen that that's the.
Because I'm asking because you've won different legal battles. You have different court judgments, and it looks like the governor is still not bending. So I mean, what are you going to do? That's the question. No. Yes.
No, we are not. You see, they are dragging it back to now. They have challenged the garnish court. So I don't know. They will go back to the Supreme Court, whether they want the Supreme Court to reverse itself. So we're there. So let's wait for them. But it will be very funny. I know. No Attorney General will want to stand before the Supreme Court and say, "Oh, I decline your judgment. I couldn't carry it out, and we are here now to say this and that." We are all waiting. So I don't want to say much on that because.
Yes.
The thing is,
I understand, and I'm asking because there are people who say that where we are now in terms of the challenges we face, obedience of court order and whatnot. We also saw it in the last administration of the former president Muhammadu Buhari of the APC as well, where courts made different pronouncements regarding release of individuals, where the president said sometimes national security or national interest will override the rule of law. That this is a precedent that has been set. So if you have a sitting person from the executive who decides not to obey, there's really so much you can do at the end of the when a precedent has been set in that administration.
During Buhari regime, I think I was asked the same question during a press conference. I said it openly. It should be challenged. If anybody, even if it's President Tinubu that says something contrary to the law, it should be challenged. You see, first and foremost, I was foremost an activist before I became a bourgeois politician. Look, I will not, because I belong to a system or a party, and somebody will say, okay, we'll do anything he or she likes. I am telling you, and I said it that time, that if, as Buhari came in and he met Makinde, and he sacked Makinde, I will be on the side of Makinde today to fight for his right. So it's not about a party now, or somebody laying precedent. If you are laying bad precedent, no, the rule of law should be allowed to take its course. So for me, it is all about rule of law.
Okay, barrister, rule of law, that's the question. I mean, that's your constituency. That's where you belong. What do you do when there are, as he said, even before they decided to challenge Ganishi order at the Supreme Court, there have been different court judgments as well, and the governor remains defiant in all of this because we need a solution at the end of the day. We cannot continue to drag this issue for so long.
as the court pleases. You see, Debo, a person ought not to be a judge in his own cause because he cannot act as a judge and at the same time be a party to a dispute. And that is an honest submission for the government of Oyo State. I don't want us to go back to all the courts, Wahala and all that, and what have you. I have just an appeal to my prince. The government of Seyi Makinde appears to be cash-strapped, as evidence suggests. I know Prince will want to disagree with me, but what is the evidence we have? He is facing an uphill task, selling Oyo State land for profit, even wetlands, which has brought him in conflict with the environmentalists. My appeal, therefore, is that we have an out-of-court settlement, even if it means paying the judgment debt as monthly salaries, so that the load will not be too heavy on the government and the people of Oyo State, just like my prof had earlier suggested. I think if we can find a way around it, it will be much better for the peace of the state. So I on behalf of the government, even though I am not a part of it,
it sounds like
I want,
go ahead.
I want
Yes.
to yes. You know, that they find a better way of resolving this matter rather than allowing it to linger in the courts.
Okay, Prof, final word before we let, yes.
I just want to respond to that.
Okay, sir.
It seems we are saying the same thing over and over again. When Barrister said you should find a means, I told you, you did not hear from us in the last 2 years. I told you it was because of that. And it was because we danced to their tune and said, oh, this is what we can do within 6 months. Please agree with us. And that was, sir,
Don't get
that was why you didn't. That was why you did not even hear us going to court. This thing has been rested for the past 1.5 years or 2 years now. So it is when they renege again that they could not even do what they promised to do that we started. That they don't have that money, I am telling you. The 1.3 billion has been guaranteed since April this year. I'm telling you. Since April. No, and they are selling, even telling that. They are selling.
Prof, please. Prince.
Prof, go ahead.
Ẹ̀yin lẹ jẹ́ kí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì bá wa ṣe gbogbo títì wa, ẹ̀yin lẹ lọ garnish account wọn. Àwọn ará Ìbàdàn, àwọn ará Ọ̀yọ́ State ń jìyà o. Owó tẹ garnish yẹn, owó tó fẹ́ fi ṣe títì nìyẹn.
No, don't let Don't let mislead people, because you look at it. We are even talking of people's lives. Some people died. Tó bá gbàdúrà fún yẹn pé ọwọ́ ẹni wàá fi gbẹ̀tọ́ ẹ, àdúrà ńlá ni kí ẹ máa ṣe. Torí ẹ tó bá jìyà tó bá kú ni wọ́n á ní ẹ lọ pọmọ ẹ wá kó wá gba ẹ̀tọ́ ẹ̀. Àwọn ẹni jìyà owó tó ń fi ṣe kinní náà tún dá lájọ́ ń dá la fi ṣe case. Wọ́n sì gun ọ̀rọ̀ owó tọ́jú ara wọn. So then again, Barrister ṣe rí wọ́n ń ta ilẹ̀ yẹn, owó ilẹ̀ kan ni ó di kinní. So having choice kinní fún àwọn èèyàn ni, àwọn èèyàn wọn tó rò pé ibẹ̀ yẹn kù, ibẹ̀ yẹn ṣe kó ṣe owó ilẹ̀ kan ni ìjọba ó fi ṣe tó fẹ́ ṣe.
Okay.
It's not because of that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I speak to you.
Yes. I understand. It's okay.
So
it's okay.
I'm sorry. I forgot that we are on. So it's not because of the money. It's because of the money needed to do things. It's not because of that. Right. It's because some of the people, the class of people ruling us, some need choice area in that area, and you know how beautiful that area is. Water mixed with forest, and it's a very beautiful area. That's what I think.
Okay. A final word from Prof. Final word before we let Prince go.
I just want to agree with the gentleman who called in previously to say that the challenges at the local government level is beyond merely giving allocation to local government directly to the chairman, and that what has happened is that the seek for a solution to some of the problem at that time led to the joint state local government account. The one of those reasons is that you find local government chairman who don't reside in the local government, they only get there to get allocation and share and disappear. You also have a situation where with what economists call the non-correspondence problem. Once you get money to a locality, the money does not come from that locality. The tendency for accountability is also very slim. So there are all kinds of challenges and issues around local government, and we need to take a clever look at possible solutions, because under that regime, we have a situation where local government chairmen were organizing, to undermine state governments. They were lobbying the National Assembly to change their terms or tenure of office and so on. And so there are all kinds of problems that comes with new policy, and we have to be very circumspect and recognize the complexity of the situation as we seek for solution. And I want to urge Prince Alexander that they should not give up hope, but they should recognize the fact that they are part of for your state, and solutions to that problem should be in the interest of not only the team, but also Oyo State citizens and residents in general. Right. That should be the foundation for the negotiation with the government. And we hope that the governor can have a change of heart. He's a human being. He may have said that openly, but that doesn't mean that that's what he's going to stand on forever. I think on that note, I welcome him again, and it's been a pleasure talking to you on this issue.
Right. Thank you so much, Prince Adeji Abbas, election lawyer, for joining us on the podium. It's been great to hear your side of things. Yes. Let me also say that we...
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Barrister.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Bye-bye. Okay, so let me also clearly state here that we reached out to the state government as well, but all effort to get there a representative for them to come to the show today proved abortive. Hopefully, they will be joining us maybe in subsequent edition as well for us to hear the governor's side of things as well. Okay, so let's quickly look at, because Prince joined us quite early, so we didn't have the chance to look at some of the issues we should have looked at, although we did a projection for the year 2024, looking at the political side of things. But I'd like to take us back to, an issue that dominated the news for a while before the passing of the late governor, Rotimi Akeredolu. Condolences, of course, to the state government and people of Ondo State. His body has arrived in Nigeria from Germany, according to reports. There's been a lot has been said about the political side of things in the state. The tussle over whether or not Loka Editwa should take over, and a lot of tributes have been given as well. Let me start with Prof. People talk about the class that he emerged from at the time when there was so much activism about our democracy, the Yaradua time. People that also emerged from that class, sort of. Back in 2008, 2009, 2010 as well, the likes of Nasir El-Rufai, the later Ajimobi as well. So, what do you make of that Akeredolu class and the legacy he leaves behind as a former governor of Ondo State, as well as lessons to learn from the event in the state?
I think that even before becoming governor, it was a recognizable name in Nigeria as a legal practitioner who has led many institutions, especially within the legal profession. And he sort of represents a particular class of people who bring their professional competencies into politics and the activities they carried out. And I think one of the things that actually distinguishes them are two, which one is what I've mentioned, their professional competence. They have a job, they have a professional focus, they are specialists in their field and all of that. Then secondly, they understand the idea of institutions. They need to strengthen institutions, they need to follow due process, and they are able to stick out their neck to emphasize why those rules must be upheld, even in challenging circumstances. These are two things. And the third, which I think is much more demonstrated even with Yar'Adua, is empathy. Their sensitivity, to poverty, to deprivation, to the role of government in uplifting the well-being and welfare of citizens. And these three things, they are very essential for leadership. And you see them at different moments demonstrating, this awareness, this commitment. Of course, that's not to say that they don't have their own weaknesses and all of that. But if you see these basic principles operating in different levels, then you begin to see some of the things that we should expect from government, even with all the imperfections that we experience in Nigeria today. Unfortunately, just like the case of Yar'Adua, we're happy that others have not faced the same circumstances. They were cut short by sickness, by disease. And you see what then happen when they become captive of these illnesses. Their capacity, to continue with the good work. People take advantage of the circumstances to begin to do all kinds of wiles and machinations, and it's really unfortunate for the people who are supposed to be the subject of governance. So I think that they represent something that tells us about the understanding of modern government. And in Nigeria, there's this myth, of understanding between the traditional and the modern, and the interface, among them. But these people seem to understand that very clearly. They didn't have issues, integrating traditional interaction, political mobilization with the fine demand of governance. They are not the type that will tell you, we couldn't do this because people are demanding us to take care of their sick mothers, to give them money for marriage, to give them money when they are sick. They understand that this are part of our traditional network of mutual support, but they also recognize that they are running a modern government. It requires professional competencies. It requires empathy and sympathy and focus on the welfare of the people. And it also requires respect for the rule of law, developing and strengthening institutions that will facilitate the delivery of public services. These are the very essential features that I think this class that we're talking about have demonstrated. But of course, not all of them. Some of them fall short. But the main people you have mentioned demonstrated these fine qualities of modern governance.
Okay, a barrister as well, yeah? Barrister?
You're muted, barrister.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yes.
Thank you very
go
much.
ahead, yeah.
First and foremost, let me say my condolences to the people of Ondo State and the family of Rotimi Akeredolu Aketi, one of the best governors that we have had the privilege of having in Nigeria since 1999. And that is for some of the laudable things that he did, particularly in the area of security. I know that quite a number of Nigerians were disappointed or taken aback by the inability of the governor to have relinquished power as provided by law when it mattered, rather than allowing an illegal solution, which was chaired by Mr. President himself. But the fact we have now appears to absolve Aketi of any blame. And like a legal maxim, an act does not make the doer of it guilty unless the mind be guilty. That is, unless the intent be criminal. What we have now, the information at our disposal now, is that at every material time, the governor was incapacitated and could not take that decision himself. It was so unfortunate that those who surrounded him decided to behave like what happened during the Shehu Yar'Adua years. But we thank God for the resolution of the conflict, and we bid Aketi farewell. He has done well. He came, he saw, and he conquered. I know that the shoes he is leaving behind is very, very big. I can only pray that Ayedatiwa will be able to utilize the opportunity that has been given to him to beat Akeredolu's records. You see, if you look at Ayedatiwa and Emilokon, they appear to be the same thing. I hope he is going to show to us that his is different. The whole of Ondo State, the whole of Nigeria, and indeed the world are watching his every step.
Yeah, and Prof also highlighted, his class that I mentioned earlier. But still staying with you, Barrister, I just wanted to, in your assessment, a comparison between the governors that emerged at the time, the likes of Fashola and Co. and Akeredolu as well, to the ones that we have presently, although some of them too will soon become ex-governors, for especially for those who have won various second term in office, Dapo Abiodun, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, Governor Makinde, who we just spoke about in relation to the local government crisis in your state, a number of them, what's your comparison? How do you compare, his own class as? Hold that thought. Let's take this call and then we'll get your thoughts on that. Hello. Hello, morning.
I want to express my opinion on that local government chairman.
Your name, sir. Your name, sir.
Collect what did you not work for?
Your name, sir. Your name, sir.
I am Jerry from Mokola.
Okay, sir. Go ahead.
I would have loved to ask a question from Prince Alation boy here. What I want to ask him that an election that was declared illegal by a court and they didn't even work more than 6 months, they were sacked. How come they are asking for full payment for 3 years? Can he pay his staff that left to work for 6 months instead of 3 years? Can he pay that kind of money?
Okay.
And I can see a power tussle between executive and the judiciary. They are the ones destroying this country. The same court that declared an election illegal, Ajimobi hurriedly conducted it, unopposed election. Unopposed. And the same court grants them another welcome, how do I put it, that we should be paid. I think they are misinterpreting, they are causing confusion again.
Right.
The judiciary power and the executive power, they are confusing us in this country. They are destroying this country.
Right.
That is the way I view it.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish your call came in earlier. I mean, we would have dealt with that. But going back to your line of thought, Barrister, I was asking you the class of the governors that we had at the time, especially at the time when there were questions about, Yar'Adua handing over, the doctrine of necessity, the advocacy we had at the time, and the kind of governance we had at the time compared to the class that are emerging right now.
Well, you see, I feel very sad because one would have expected, that we move from point A to point B, then to point C, then to point D, which would be a progression. But sadly, what we have is indeed a retrogression. When we had the likes of Donald Duke, we had the likes of Raji Fashola, and a few others.
Yes.
I may not remember their names. I think they really tried their best. For instance, today, almost all parts of the country and internationally, there is this respect for the governor of Borno State, who appears to have the people as the center of his administration. The governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, was also on that list, not until his second coming. I keep asking myself why Seyi Makinde ventured out for his second term, because there was an interview he granted where he said there is no need for a governor to come for a second term. Perhaps that is what is affecting, his performance recently, because he appears now to be in the bad books of quite a number of people in the state. let's take, for instance, the issue of Agodi Gardens. I was particularly surprised when I watched the video of the governor deriding the environmentalists. He said very, very unprintable words, unpardonable, unacceptable comments about people who were working in line with their mandate. That was most unfortunate. It was most unfortunate. Today we have governors who, from their acts, it appears they are, as people call them, emperors. Look at what happened in Ogun State, where husbands, fathers, grandfathers in some cases were prostrating for the governor. Who does that? For what? For being a governor? You know. So far, most of the governors have not done very well at all.
So you'd have put Governor Makinde, Barry said you'd have put Governor Makinde in that list of, the likes of Fashola and Donald Duke, if not for recent event. That's what you're saying.
For his first term, yes. But for his second term, you go around Ibadan and see all that is happening. All the local government areas, go and see them. You will be sad. A friend of mine came in from the US and we were having a drive around and he asked me, he said, Yomi, is there a government in Oyo State? And I felt very sad. I felt very, very sad. He appears to have abandoned, his mandate. And nothing has been done to improve the lives of the people of Oyo State, particularly in the rural areas, in the local government areas. And that's not good enough. So far, if you ask me, there is only one governor that I am seeing now, and that is the governor of Borno State. Every other one is just occupying office to enjoy the spoils of office and what have you. I look at the case of the Eleye of Lagos. Shekari me, they are doing government to show us. The same governor that went to arrest a soldier for driving against traffic was captured driving against traffic. I have the video on my set. The governor himself was driving against traffic. So what kind of a system is that? Well, obey what I say and not what I do? No. Leaders should lead by example. So we need more of those people who will be able to lead by example. Akeredolu was a man who, for a very long time to come, we will continue to respect. Today, the people in Plateau State are seeing the difference between a governor who cares for his people and the ones that are just sleeping and budgeting several billions to be chopping elephants and lions. Akeredolu went out there. He even confronted the president, which gave rise to the formation of the Amotekun Corps. And you can see the achievements of that body so far. We need governments that will leave legacies like that, in all parts of Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much for being a part of the show, Podium. Just the last one from Prof. Very quickly. Barrister said that his second term. Is it typical? Because I've heard it from a lot of people say, oh, this governor in his first term, he did very well. The second term, that was when we started seeing his real color. Is this what is typical of governors across the country? Prof?
Well, to some extent, it's not the general rule. There are governors who start very slowly and then finish strong. But generally, people believe that because they have an eye for a second term, they always perform better in the first term than the second term. Because again, after the second term, they are not looking forward to any other elections, and so they tend to concentrate on their own interests. And the politics of succession rather than development projects. But in general, I think any governor who performs till the end of their tenure, because most of the projects that start in the first term often materialize completely in the second term, and many of them are finalized. And if you look at the case of Ajimwe, for instance, some of his projects were then concluded by Seyi Makinde. I think that if you look very closely, many governors are consistent, and then you can begin to see the full implication and consequences of the activities in the second term. So the second term may, in fact, be telling us about what we did not see in the first term, in the midst of the activities that they carried out. So the full implication of those activities begin to manifest in the second term. So the second term may, in fact, be telling us the true character, of any government or administration.
Right.
So that's my take on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being a part of the podium. Thank you, Barrister. Thank you, Prof, as well. Thank you for those who sent their messages on Facebook and those who called in as well. We'll be back next Saturday right here on 32 FM 94.9 on the podium. My name is Lauren Tobar Yusuf. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday morning. Bye for now.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
The views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the guest analyst and do not necessarily reflect the recommendations or perspectives of 32 FM 94.9 Ibadan.
Hello there, I'm Dr. Akin Lewis, and everybody knows me as Akin Lewis in this town. Well, I want to welcome you on 32 FM 94.9. This is the station that makes you laugh. So keep smiling. Stay tuned.
32 FM 94.9. Hi, Jide Kosoko is my name.